Uh-oh. Yeah. It's Mercy. Music by Mercy again. Heat Nation, we the culture. Yo, I need you to call timeout. Need Brady to set the floor plan. Tropical blanket, open for the shot. Yo, Greg, set the pick. Still 5 on the floor, still ride for my dog. Still battle on the court, still survive in the war. Keep your eye on the ball, or get burned from the keep this mic off the wall without turning the cheek. From night to day, no sleeping paths or allowed to mourn us. The nut is sleeping us, never catch us snoring. Live from Miami, report in the heat with 5 Reasons Sports from the courts to the streets. Yeah, Wake County, Heat Nation, we say it proudly.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
What the bleep was that? What is this team that we watched tonight? The Miami Heat with a historic romp over the Memphis Grizzlies, included 86 points in the first half. We pretty much could give the player of the night from Lynette to basically everybody who touched the floor, although we'll try to spread it out here and, well, not spread it out, but try to find one or two that stood above the rest. But if you were looking for a manifestation of what the Heat were talking about in the preseason, about playing faster and finding a flow, even without household names at some of their spots, this was it. They were absolutely on fire. It started with Bam Adebayo, which we will get into more as we go forward. But it was just about everybody. Simone Fontecchio had 14 points in his first 5 minutes. Jaime Jaquez Jr. might have played the best game I've ever seen him play. And Norm Powell was good. They were all good. Right across the board. And the question is this a one-night blip? It is a bit of a continuation from what I saw when I was on hand in Orlando in terms of the style that they want to play. The difference is the shooting, which started 5 of 6 from 3 in Orlando, continued for the whole damn game. And it wasn't just the shooting. It was aggression on offense, ball movement on offense, a ton of assists. I don't know if Memphis is that bad or the Heat are that good. And, of course, this could return back to a grind on Sunday against the Knicks. But for right now, Eric Spoelstra has committed to a style, and his players are trying to execute it. And that is better than what we saw last year because they came out of training camp talking about not necessarily playing faster, but threes, layups, all of that. The style didn't stick. Will this style stick? I can just tell you they didn't have a single day last season that looked like this one. Brady, I'm going to go to you first on this because it's kind of a style question here. Is this just about their shooting tonight or is this the way they're playing?
I think it's the way they're playing. I mean, we keep saying about the pace of it, but I think the real simplified way of talking about what this offense is, it's like get up as many shots as you can in a game. It's that simple. Like they wasted so much time playing into the half court, playing late in the clock, turnovers where it limits how many shots you're getting on a game-to-game basis. When you're playing this fast and you're just absolutely pushing, it doesn't matter where you're shooting. Like you don't have to talk about, okay, you have to shoot in this spot on the floor, this spot on the floor, this spot on the floor. Just go and shoot the ball. Just get your best shot every possession. Like the ball is not sticking for this team right now. The ball is moving. We could, like you said, everybody played well in this game. It's because everybody's kind of getting a piece of the pie right now. It just feels like everything's kind of moving around. It just feels like they're kind of leaning into this heavily, that they are really running. Like this is the only thing I'm worried about is they should be in shape for an 82-game season. Obviously, like I'm not downplaying that, but like it is a taxing style. I mean, so if you're asking how long is it going to last, I think it will last, but maybe not to the exact degree that we saw tonight where it's like every make, every miss they are running. Because it just is a taxing style. So, we'll see how much – and it feels like everybody could kind of play into it. It's not like a specific style where it's like before when you were talking about it, like even the threes and layups one. Some guys may not fit into that well. Like it's hard to adjust to. This is one where everybody kind of – when you have a youthful roster that we talked about, everybody kind of benefits. and that's why I know we're going to talk about a lot of different players, but I'm just going to say one name right now. I mean, Kel'el Ware starting in this game and benefiting off this style. Like, we're watching your 7-foot young big like run the floor, and it just like he's the easiest target on these lob passes that they're throwing. And one of my biggest takeaways from this game and watching the style and watching Kel'el, this team's ceiling raises so much when Kel'el is heavily involved offensively. Like, we could say we want about, Motor or Spo trusting him, but when he's involved offensively, when he's being used around the rim, when he's catching the lobs, when he's kind of just making an impact on the game and using full effort that he was in this game, this team looks like a different team. They have to lean into him. They cannot be a game like last game. It's not even worrying about the late game stuff or closing with him. He has to be a major part of this team because I honestly felt like he was kind of one of the players tonight where I'm like, they look different when he's impacting things around the basket.
Well, that was one of the things, Greg, that Spoelstra talked about. The starting lineup was going to adjust at times. They started Ware over Jovic tonight. Jovic actually played more minutes. Ware played 23.
They both flourished in their roles.
Well, they did, and it makes you wonder whether he'll keep them in their roles. I'm not sure. But Ware tonight, 23 minutes, 8 of 12 from the floor, 19 and 9. And then Jovic, 27 minutes, 6 of 9, 3 of 6 for 3, 26 and 4. So, I mean, they got production out of both of them. Again, I think that as you look at this going forward, I think he is going to make adjustments game to game. We might have been a little bit too specific about, okay, this is definite what he's going to do going forward. What else stood out to you? And again, there's so many candidates for player of the game. I want to get to that next, and I'll let Alex handle that one. So I'm kind of avoiding talking about him because he didn't finish with the best numbers on the team overall, but Bam kind of started everything. Give me something else other than Bam, though.
The big takeaway so far, 2 games in, and obviously you're 1-1, you lost a tough game in Orlando where you had leads, is that even in that game, you scored 121 points. To me, if I'm just an observer of this team and I'm going to watch this for 82 games, if this style sticks for them, that's just going to be more fun to watch. So I think, like, if we're going to take away stuff super top level, and not get into the nitty gritty details, because we'll do that during the segments, it's that this has been a lot more fun to watch than that stuff we watched last year.
Yeah, no doubt. Alex, let's roll on the player of the night. And now it's time for the A-Aggressive Insurance Player of the Night, sponsored by our friend Lynette. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's, insurancebylynette.com. If you need car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, or any other type of insurance, she's the person to go to. Based in Lauderhill, she services the entire Tri-County area here in South Florida, and she will make sure to get you the best deal. She'll probably talk to you about the heat while you're at it. Reach out to her, insurancebylynette.com. And now, the player of the game. Alex, is it fair to go with Bam tonight? He finished 8 of 19 from the floor, but I just felt the tone was set with him.
Absolutely. And that's exactly where I was going to go with the Bam stuff. I think he ended up cooling down, but it was just so obvious to see that he was feeling himself. He always goes at Jaren Jackson. It's like the worst kept secret. He's one of those guys that Bam just always plays super aggressive against. And pardon me if there's any sort of lag. My internet's being weird today. But Bam really set the tone to start the game. Like, I really thought he really was just taking any space that was given to him and looking to make a play out of it. And I just thought it was very, like, quick decisions, right? There was no hesitation in his game to start off the game. And, man, he was being left wide open on those threes, and he was just firing. There was no hesitation whatsoever. Like, there wasn't he wasn't having those, like, second or two to survey the floor to see if there was somebody else that would be open. No, he was just taking the wide open shot, right? And I commend him for that, because that's kind of, at times, like, even though he's been willing to shoot threes over the past couple of seasons, getting it off in rhythm is a huge thing, especially for somebody who isn't necessarily an elite shooter. Right, we know he can hit them, and I thought that was a huge part of what got him going, is that he was already playing well with the ball in his hands, attacking, and then on top of it, like, he was hitting those wide open threes in stride, and it really just got him going. He was taking some heat check shots that you just never see him take, and I think that's what led to that final percentage. And he cooled down, but I thought him, like, I'm gonna make a plea here that him and Jaime should be the co-players of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And look, like,
That's
it's
fair.
not to shade anybody else. Like, I thought Nico played great. There was so many players that played really well, right? But I thought them two were like the most like you said, Bam set the tone, and then Jaime, my goodness, dude, that was one of the best games I've ever seen him play. Like Ethan said, like he has really stood behind all the stuff he said at media day as far as being relentless, attacking the basket, and making plays. And I just think he's been the best version of himself so far in the beginning of this season. You know, like the defense has been good to good enough, right? Like it's been there, but offensively, man, like he really has just the mindset change has been obvious to see. Like the fact that he's getting downhill over and over and over again is easy to see on its own, but man, he's making the right read a lot of times. Like he had a great playmaking game tonight. He added the 10 rebounds and of course had the scoring as well. I just thought he was really, commanding the floor out there. I was really impressed with what Jaime's doing, and he's not going to put up these numbers every night, but the onus is going to be on him to continue to do this stuff when the team is healthy again, because that's where my concerns have been. But look, I'm going to go out and say it right now. I've already been super wrong about something I said literally like a week or two ago when I was like, I don't know, Jaime might be out of the rotation to start the season, because I was very concerned about his shot and him as an off-ball threat. But if he's just going to be attacking the rim at will, being efficient at the rim, making plays, and the defense is good enough, like they're not going to take him out of the rotation when guys are back. He's going to have to play himself out of the rotation. I just think the stuff that he does well is way, way overpowering like any concerns I had about the shooting right now.
Well, I think you weren't the only one that was concerned about where he might fit. He's forcing his way to fit right now. It's basically what happens. It's like, okay, well, we don't see a defined role for him. He's not a great shooter. We didn't think they were going to put the ball in his hands as much as they've put the ball in his hands. I mean, this is way more than I expected. And his ability, again, to make reads is way ahead of where it was last year. So he was a one-trick pony last season. I mean, really, it was just get in the lane and spin. Like, there's everything else this year. And this is where an elite coach matters also, and a coaching staff, because they clearly have identified some things with him that they could build on. And he's bought into it. Now, will it last? I'm not sure. There's going to be moving parts in and out of this rotation all year. I think what Spoelstra's trying to get done here is that it doesn't matter who it is each night. This idea of more shots up, more flow, not necessarily a traditional point guard, although Davion's doing his damn best to prove he is one. They are in a situation where night to night we may be talking about something else. And there may be some nights where we may be looking around saying, well, they didn't have anybody step up. Everybody was looking at everybody else to do it. And I know there will be those nights. But the fact that they're capable of a night like this, playing like this, is critical early in the season. This is not a terrible team that they beat tonight. This is a team that struggled a little bit late last season, still made the play-in, still made the first round of playoffs. And you're on the road. You're coming off a loss in Orlando that was deflating because you played at a high level for most of the game and gave it away as you gave away games last year. And then one of your teammates gets arrested at 6 a.m. And then you go into Memphis. I give them credit for sticking to the script. And again, I don't know how it translates, Greg, as we go forward to New York, but there are a lot of guys who are coming out of this game feeling good. Yeah. And they haven't won in so long, like in preseason, last 4 playoff games, first regular season game. And this is a release for a lot of them.
Yeah. I was just going to say that relief of getting that win finally after it's been kind of a dry spell is huge. Everything you mentioned about Jaquez and how he had to kind of force his way into the rotation, I think we should also shout out Simone Fontecchio. And he's basically doing the same thing, in proving that he can be a knockdown shooter tonight. We'll see if that continues, which is what we're saying about Jaquez too. But I think that the one interesting thing is that Larson is kind of the odd man out, and we had hoped he was going to be more prevalent in the rotation, but it's a long ass season. And there's probably going to be a chance for him to get extended, run at some point. So it's just a lot of positive developments. And the fact that the pace appears to be not an anomaly, not something that was driven by who they've played so far. It's very much with intent and they're being purposeful to play that fast, that's cool. Like, I think like that's an interesting way to make a team that maybe when you looked at it talent wise, you thought it had certain ceilings. You could maybe get up one more tier because the coaches, basically coached them up that way.
All right, let's talk about some others tonight real quick. But you know what? First, let's get to the X-ray of the play of the night. All right, welcome back. Brought to you by Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services. I apologize, I'm a little rusty. They bring the X-ray equipment and staffing to you. Reach out to Nelson and his entire family. Again, it's 561-891-9620. Again, 561-891-9620. Check out the website. It's c-armandstaffing.com, c-armandstaffing.com. Check out everything that they do. They're also hiring PRN, X-ray techs, and more. So check them out. Nelson, based here in South Florida, huge Miami Heat fan. If you work in a medical office, this is the firm that you want to reach out to. Again, it's Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services, or c-armandstaffing.com. All right, let's get to the X-ray of the play of the night. Brady, what we got?
It's tough because there was a lot, and there was a lot of different guys that we've already talked about. But I'm going to say just one because, Greg, you touched on it for a second there. There was just one play where Fontecchio just caught the ball in transition, and it just, it doesn't even touch his hand. Like, he catches the ball, and Alex, we talked about it a lot where, the ball, the way he shoots when you watch it closely, it's, floating above his hand. Like, he's just using his palm. But whatever happens, it works. He is a pure shooter. The form looks good. But it's just we're watching the way he's playing, and it's these shooters always get compared to the last shooter where it's you compare him to Duncan or you compare him to Max or you just go down the line. He's just so different. I feel like the way they're utilizing him than the past shooters. They're not just spamming him off handoffs. Max was more of a fly off a pin down and kind of work the weak side type of shooter. He's just a little bit different. He has a little bit more to his bag. He's a little bit bigger. There's these moments where he just randomly gets into an isolation bag and takes a tough shot. It's just some random type scoring. And he just, when you talk about the ball not sticking, he's not somebody that you're going to be worried about that's going to dribble the ball around out there. He's catching and he's passing, or he's shooting, or he's swinging it. So real credit to him. I mean, Alex, you mentioned something you were wrong about. I mean, I definitely thought Pella was going to be in the rotation this season, but something else I mentioned all offseason, I felt like Fontecchio would be a rotation player just because of the need for shooting. Even if he wasn't great, it's you just need him for this reason. The fact that he looks this good off the bench for them is one of the better signs of this season to me. They just absolutely needed it, especially without Tyler. They just needed some type of shooting. So he's really, it's not just playing well, he's fitting into their system extremely well. He just seems like he's really confident with it. He hasn't stuck out defensively, which I think is important. I thought there was some things there where if he's getting picked on, he's a little bit slower at times. That could be problematic, and all of a sudden Spo might pull him. I have not noticed that at all. I feel like he's kind of kept up with a lot of his matchups over the last two games. So real credit to him. They've needed it.
There was another play where Nico threw an alley-oop to Ware up at the rim, and it was a beautiful pass.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of vision that him playing off the bench and being able to really control the game in that role. I love that for him. I think that's something they need to continue to lean into versus New York.
But that's something we've talked about a lot is the Nico Ware connection, which they got away from a little last year. Part of it obviously was Nico's injury, but to bring that back would be a big thing because they have a synergy, the two of them. They've had it pretty much from the beginning. For all the talk about the competition for that starting job and whether Nico wanted to start, Ware was going to start, the fact is they play well together. And that, again, they can lean into that a little bit more. Of course, they leaned into Bam and Ware tonight. I just want to make one overriding point. And again, we appreciate everybody joining us. We try to get some of the comments up here tonight. And we'll be back tomorrow with the podcast and also obviously on Sunday. But it's not just that Spoelstra has put this style out there and that the players have bought into it, but it feels like organizationally they've bought into it. Remember, Pat Riley stayed away from European players for more than 2 decades. This is a sign-off, not only on some European players on this roster, but also on the style of play that would fit them best. And that I do think needs to be noted. This could flame out completely. We got to see it for more than one game. But I am encouraged, again, by the commitment to it. There is a organization. If everybody says, well, they haven't picked a lane, They kind of did. They picked a lane. They picked a lane of younger, all right, not as ball dominant, and let's move the ball, let's move bodies, and let's get more shots up. There's more alignment. Last year was hard to know what the hell they were trying to do. Part of it was Jimmy came out of camp, that style wasn't working. He didn't want to play. Then they brought a bunch of players on the fly. They're trying to mix all this together. They got some young, they got some old. They're playing Kyle Anderson. Kevin Love's getting occasional minutes, like all over the place. This year was like, all right, we're going to go young. If they're going to hand us Norm Powell for nothing, we'll take him. And we haven't seen Tyler in this yet. So, Alex, I'll let you close with that. We're going to see Tyler in this eventually. Why are fans scared of that?
I think there is some PTSD with the Heat doing stuff when Tyler is out, and then the idea of bringing him back in. I think it's just some that's my best guess, and also the fact that Tyler has had the reputation of being a guy who sometimes just wants to make a play with the ball, and I don't know, like I feel like he has the reputation of like, oh, he's not a ball movement type of player. I personally think he can fit into this. I'm not saying it's going to be 100% awesome from the get-go, but I'm looking forward to it. I do think he can fit what they're doing. It really is just like, it's pass the ball around. It's make a play with the ball or get off of it. It's don't pound the ball. And honestly, I just said this in our chat, but the only guy really who hasn't looked that great playing this style, in my opinion, is Wiggins. I'm not trying to count him out or anything. He's had his moments where he's done stuff. But just in general, I do feel like it's fitting the personnel of the team. It's not always going to look this great. Like they're not always going to hit this many threes. But what you guys are saying is true. Like the play style is what's sustainable about all this. It's having as many guys out there who can just make a play with the ball, get into offense earlier. And like Brady said earlier, like try to get as many shots up as possible. Because if you're just trying to match another team one-on-one, playing a slow pace, a little bit of a tongue twister there. It's just hard to match the offense that other teams can offer, right? Especially with Tyler out. So I just think them like there's a lot of instinctual stuff here. They're making reads. There's and shout out Coop who's talked about this as well. Like there's less pick and rolls. It's really just there's a couple of simple off-ball actions being run. They're trying to get mismatches and they're just trying to make a play as quick as possible. And I really, really appreciate the refreshing change of pace, right? So to speak, about the way that they've changed their pace here. Right, like it's been fun to watch. Like you said, they're gonna have to hold on to this. But man, like Jaquez is doing stuff, Jovic is doing stuff, Davion is doing stuff, Norm is doing stuff. I mean, you got Simone out here shooting the hell out of the ball. Like the offense is really clicking right now. And I think even with that loss the other night, it was one of those things you felt good about. And I just hope it's one of those things where they don't have a stretch of games and where they're just not shooting well. And then they just kind of go back to slow ball. I'm really hoping that that's not what happens because we're just human beings, right? Like you're going to go back to what's comfortable. And I do think there's going to be times against really good teams where, like a guy like Tyler or a guy like Wiggins, maybe there's going to be a lot of deep pressure on them. And there's going to be some ill-advised shots. Like it's not always going to look like how it did tonight. But I do think them just committing to the style, I think that can be done just fine with Tyler on the floor. Like, I think you're going to have another guy out there who's a serious threat to make a play with the ball. Obviously, a serious shooting threat, somebody who you can't really leave off the ball. I don't see why he wouldn't fit into what they're doing offensively. Now, to be fair, what they did great tonight as well was play defense. So if you have concerns about Tyler fitting into their defense and how the rotation changes, and how that affects their defense when he comes back, I think that's valid. But offensively, I think, he's going to have to show me that he doesn't fit because I personally don't believe that yet.
Yeah, and he's going to have plenty of opportunity to do that because he's coming back and playing 35 minutes as soon as he's able, and they'll figure out everything around that. I never see a problem with having good players on the floor. That's the thing. You get as many good players as you can. It's up to the coach to figure that out and the players to find a way to fit. He's a high IQ player, even for those who don't believe so. He's watching this, and I think he will be eager, to figure out how he can impact it in a positive way. Getting more shots up is not going to hurt his numbers for sure. So if anybody's concerned, he might be worried about that.
He's
a lot of
going
this
to have as big a green light as anyone does.
Correct. So there shouldn't be a concern about that. It's just there's a clock on how quickly the ball gets out of your hands now, and I don't think he's as big an issue with that as some others have been over time. All right, appreciate it. We're going to end it there since it's a Friday night prior to 11 o'clock. Let everybody get on to whatever it is they're going to do. Thanks to Brady. Thanks to Greg. Thanks to Alex. Also check out the Sports Illustrated site, which we're now running on SI. Brady already has his takeaways up. They were up before post game. I'm not supposed to give that away, but there was really no reason to wait. Unless you wanted to get into the Jameer Young minutes, we appreciate everybody for joining us. We'll be doing more lives. Brady, Alex, and myself will be at the game on Sunday. Heat Knicks, 6 o'clock. Have a good one.